I'm Garnet, this is Eggs. Battle Tendency is the second part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's a supernatural horror shounen, I suppose, created by Hirohiko Araki and serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump from 1987 to 1989. In 1938, 50 years after the end of Phantom Blood, Jonathan's now 18-year-old grandson, Joseph Joestar, also known as JoJo, is living in America with his grandma, Erina, and has somehow inherited the power of Haman, or Ripple, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's hereditary. Towards the beginning, he beats the ever-loving heck out of a police guy and saves and befriends Smokey Brown, who I thought would play a bigger part than he actually did. Speedwagon is still alive. He has become extremely wealthy and is still very close to the Joestars, helping them however he can. Love this guy. Straizo is also alive and looks young from Haman energy. It does that. They meet up in Mexico to check out a carving of a stone mask next to a mummy. The mask is exactly like the one Dio used to become a vampire, but that's not all they found in these ruins. Deeper in is a pillar with a man sticking out of it, surrounded by a whole crap ton of stone masks. I don't know why we even cared about the little carving of a stone mask when there's actual like full-sized ones in the same area. Anyway, this guy in the pillar is alive but sleeping. Little nap. Speedwagon wants Straizo to kill the Pillar Man with Haman, but Straizo is an idiot and uses a mask to turn himself into a vampire so that he can stay young and beautiful forever, because the Haman energy youth just wasn't enough. Like, dude, you could have killed the Pillar Man first and then turned into a vampire. What a doofus. I mean, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have, because yeah, it doesn't work when they're stoned, but he could have tried. So he slices Speedwagon's head open. Straizo goes to take out JoJo and Erina so that no one else who knows about the masks will be left, and to get rid of a Haman user before he gets too strong, but he actually ends up using it himself and dies. His own Haman kills him on purpose, and he tells JoJo about the Pillar Man on his way out. Okay, bye. So, since this is the 1930s, the Speedwagon Foundation aren't the only ones interested in the Pillar Man. So, we're the frickin' Nazis. Do I want to say this in a YouTube video? Speedwagon is still alive. The Nazis have him. They also have the Pillar Man and are running experiments. This is how we meet Stroheim. JoJo goes to save Speedwagon, fights some Nazis, and encounters the now awake Pillar Man, Santana. He turns out to be not friendly, surprise surprise, so he fights him too, and it's really intense. They manage to get him to turn back into stone so that he can protect himself from the sun, which kills Pillar Men just like with vampires. Pillar Men are not the same as vampires. They are a higher, much more terrifying being that actually eat vampires. Cows eat grass, people eat cows, vampires eat people, and Pillar Men eat vampires. That's how the food chain works. Wait, grass? Grass eats sun, cows eat grass, people eat cows, vampires eat people, Pillar Men eat vampires, and the sun eats Pillar Men. That's the circle of life. 3 more Pillar Men are discovered, they wake up, and they are even more powerful than Santana. He was the weakest one. Sure is convenient for JoJo that he was the first to wake up. So these are Wamu, AC/DC, it's spelled like this, and Best Boy Cars. Wamu puts a ring with poison in it on JoJo's heart, and AC/DC puts one in his throat, so he has to train with Caesar Zappelli and Lisa to be better at breathing so that he can fight the Pillar Men before the time limit is up in 33 days, so he can drink an antidote from Wamu's lip ring and AC/DC's nose ring and not be poisoned. Are you still following me? The Pillar Men need the redstone of, how do you even say this, Aya? In order to become the ultimate beings so that they can't be killed by the sun. So we gotta keep them from getting that as well. And that's all I'm telling you. I feel like I've told too much, but I was trying to get us up to the main villain, so you know what JoJo's like main goal in the story is. A lot of stuff happens before we get to that. It's a lot of chapters in, but to me that's just like the very beginning. It got harder and harder to explain all the weird stuff in a way that like made sense without going into too much detail. Characters: Joseph Joestar, Jonathan and Erina's grandson, who looks extremely similar to Jonathan. He is not a gentleman like Jonathan. Even though he acts like a dipstick, he is actually very intelligent and comes up with some insane ideas during the fights. I love it. And he is somehow able to predict what people will say before they say it. Robert E.O. Speedwagon, much older now, but still very loyal to the Joestars, uses his wealth to help them however he can. I love him. Erina Pendleton, Still a lovely lady, but she's a little more strict than before, and she's very worried about the whole vampire thing. Smokey Brown. Joseph saved him from a very bad policeman, and so they're friends now. He's kind of a Speedwagon-ish character, but instead of being everywhere JoJo goes, he's actually with Erina most of the time, so yeah, I thought he would learn to fight, but he didn't. Caesar Antonio Zappelli, another Haman user who JoJo trains with and befriends. He is the grandson of the Zappelli from Phantom Blood, and since the Pillar Men created the masks that caused his death, Caesar wants to avenge him by killing them. He has committed every crime short of murder, whatever that means. Lisa, the woman who trains JoJo and Caesar. Very strong Haman abilities and looks young because of it, just like Straizo did. She's very important for a really specific reason. I mean, besides being the one that trains them. Susie Q, a cute girl who works for Lisa. She can't fight or use Haman. She's JoJo's love interest. Straizo, or Straits, went from an ally in part 1 that was only around for a little bit to an enemy in part 2 that was only around for a little bit. He's kind of pretty, but apparently isn't very smart. Rudolf von Stroheim is like our main Nazi. So obviously he's a horrible person and is an enemy at first, but because he obviously doesn't want the Pillar Men eating everyone, he does help fight them. It's really weird. Santana, the first Pillar Men we meet. People forget that he exists a lot. He was never killed, by the way. He's still a rock. I prefer how he looks in the manga over in the anime. Wamu. I think he's most people's favorite Pillar Man. He's actually a pretty good dude. He fights fair. I like him. AC/DC, I don't know how to explain him. He has hot blood and he cries really big. Cars. He's the best. This is our main villain. He doesn't do much at first. He really doesn't care much about fighting the humans. He wants to find that stone. He knows what he wants and he doesn't want to piss around with anything else. Art. So the first time I read it, this is the part where I switched from black and white to color and stuck to color for the rest of the series. So I did look back at the black and white version as well for this review. I think it's really good either way, just easier to process what's happening with color. The characters are still drawn insanely muscular like in part 1. They're not as wide though, because in Phantom Blood their heads looked like shrunken compared to their bodies. We're more proportional here. Kinda. But there's not a lot of clothing being worn this time, so you can see all the muscles now. There's a lot of naked people and there's lots of butts, so many butts. Way too many ads. Thighs. You know, something that really bothers me is that in the manga, Jonathan's hair is brown and Joseph's hair is blue. Their hairstyles are a bit different, but besides that, the two look really similar. But then the anime for some reason switched it so that Jonathan has blue hair and Joseph has brown, so when I see artwork of either of them outside of the manga or anime, I really have to sit there and think to figure out which one it is, because I can't just know based on the hair color. Why did the anime switch it? Do I recommend? Yes, 10 out of 10, obviously. Part 2 explains the vampires and stone mask from part 1 by creating an even stronger being. And we get a pretty good ending to the whole stone mask thing. Also, no dogs die in this part. One animal does die and it was really weird, but it wasn't a dog. Oh, I guess a few other... Well, those ones are vampires. But then it's not dogs. And it's not even because there weren't any dogs, because there was a puppy. This part has some freaky and gory stuff, but it's not as extreme as in part 1, like no babies lose their faces at least. This is the end of the video for anyone who doesn't want any spoilers, and I apologize if I already went a little overboard while trying to explain things. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. My Twitter and Patreon are linked in the description. Bye bye for now. Okay, spoiling time for no reason, I just want to say stuff. First I want to talk about Lisa, because when Joseph is introduced, it says his parents are dead. That's true for his father, George II. He was the baby Erina was pregnant with at the end of part 1. But there was another baby that Erina saved and took with her from the ship. That baby was Lisa, so Lisa is Joseph's mom. Then we have another happy little family with the Pillar Men. I'm sure you've noticed that there are only 4 Pillar Men and no Pillar Women. Well, there used to be other Pillar Men and Pillar Women, but Cars killed everybody due to some disagreements. He wanted to evolve further and made the stone masks, but the other Pillar people were just like, nah, we're fine like this, living under the ground. We don't gotta do anything. So he killed them, and he only spared his friend AC/DC and 2 random Pillar babies who were Wamu and Santana. So they raised them together. I absolutely see them as a family, so it makes me really sad that they didn't try to help Santana. You raised that guy from baby. Though I guess focusing on getting the stone and becoming perfect beings would have still been the best thing to do if they did want to save him, because then it'd be easier. Maybe they were gonna help him. Didn't really sound like it, but I like to pretend that they would've. You know, we don't know what Santana's actual name is. Stroheim is the one who named him Santana because he wanted to be his dad or something, whatever he was saying, I don't remember. But the Pillar Men never actually refer to Santana with a name at all. Like, what's his name? We'll probably never know, and it will probably drive me crazy forever. I thought the thing about Wamu hating when his shadow gets stepped on would come up more often. I don't really know why that's a thing, but it did create a moment showing the Pillar Men being unexpectedly considerate of each other. Like, oh, I'm so sorry I attacked you, Cars. Punish me. No, Wamu, I'm so sorry. It's been so long that I forgot. Oh, thank you, Cars. And JoJo and the others are just standing there watching this happen, like they just don't exist to the Pillar Men. Just like with Santana's name, Pillar Men probably wasn't what they were always called. They probably had some other name for their species or something. Did they ever tell us who that mummy was? I don't think they did. Could he be the Aztec guy from the beginning of Phantom Blood? Like, he was definitely a vampire, whoever he was. Look at those teeth. But what killed him? I'm assuming Santana didn't do it, because I think he would have eaten him skeleton at all. There wouldn't be anything there. And there shouldn't be sunlight in there. How often do vampires even leave skeletons behind when they die in this series? Do they ever? What got this dude? Also, what's with this alien-looking face? Look at this. The freak is that? Pillar Men eyes don't look like that. Tell me in the comments who your favorite character is in part 2. I love Cars. Yes, he was a nutcase who killed almost his entire species, but he saved a puppy. Araki has villains kill dogs to show how evil they are, but this one kills humans to save a puppy. He saves some flowers from being crushed, so he respects nature. That was kind of weird. The squirrel thing was really weird. How much control did Cars have over his squirrel hand? Did he want it to kill the other squirrel? Could it have run away and left him? He caused the deaths of many Nazis. He's a genius, being the inventor of the mask and actually figuring out how to become an ultimate being. He knows how to focus on his goal and not get distracted with pointless fights, even though he likes fighting. He was successful. He did get to become the ultimate being. It ended up not working in his favor because you can't do much in space. I know he wanted to avenge his dudes, but if he would have just flown away and ignored JoJo like he did towards the beginning, he would have been fine. Just fly away and go get Santana. He's clearly his least favorite child, but at least that's someone. His hair is absolutely gorgeous. His face is absolutely gorgeous. He looks nice. That's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!